Hello, students. I'm sorry that I'm not here today, but I've made a pretty fun activity for you to try with our substitute. It might look familiar because we've used this before. You are going to use a dice to roll some different things that will create a studio for the arts, for music, maybe for sports, science, all kinds of different stuff. On the left side, you can see the different numbers. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different roles to help you create a couple different studios. So the first role is the shape of the building, of the studio. So maybe the front of the studio is rectangular or triangle, circle, any of these different shapes. Remember, start out with one of these and then you can add or make it more complicated if you want to. Just start with one to begin. Circle, whatever you roll. I rolled a 2 for mine, for the shape. Next, you're going to roll the type of door. Mine, I think I rolled this door. This is actually like a safe, so it's got a big lock on it. No one can get into the studio except for me. I also rolled, I think, one of these earlier. Next, the kind of windows. What kind of windows are going to go on your place? Maybe you have a big rectangular window with different panes, or a circular window, or one with curtains. Depends on what you roll. Next, this one's a little bit small, but it's very important. What type of studio is this? The first one, number 1, is for music. Maybe the studio is for making beats or recordings or background music for movies. This is a music studio. Next, you have some very small art icons. So this is for an art studio, number 2. So you might have drawing tables, painting equipment, paint cans, sketchbooks, and things like that. Number 3 is sports. So maybe you are an athlete and you want to train in this studio so you can get really good at your different sports or competitions. So maybe you have a pool table or a basketball court or a baseball diamond inside your studio or some kind of training facility. Number 4 is some different science items. So maybe this is like a lab. You want to be a scientist or you might want to be an artist that works with science. You might use some of these as ideas. Then you have very small pictures. These are for photography. So if it's a photography studio, you're going to have a lighting setup, different cameras, maybe some different backgrounds, or a green screen where you could take pictures or film. Finally, we have an exercise or training facility. It's a little bit different than sports. This one's just for fitness. So maybe you have a track for running, for lifting weights, for doing yoga, or doing other kinds of cardiovascular or weight-related activities. Finally, you have the setting. Show me where this studio is. Is it in the fields, in the forest, beach, desert, farm, or the city? You can see an example up here, very detailed. This person showed the inside of the studio. You have a choice of either showing the inside or just the outside, but we do want to see all of these things. We want to look at your studio and tell what they're doing in there. So for example, my first studio is a A-frame. It's like a big triangle. It's an A-frame studio. What I did is I actually drew the inside. So I drew one triangle and then another triangle next to it, and I just connected them. And then I drew a line for the floor and started drawing things inside. This studio has a basketball court, it has a drawing table, it has a huge computer screen so I can look at different pictures I'm drawing from, and it has some turntables and gigantic speakers so I can blast really loud music while I'm working. In the background, you'll see I have the beach, supposed to be water back here, and some buildings. There's a city far away that I can go visit. Down on this drawing, it's a little more simple. You just see the front of the studio, you see a chimney, you can see someone drawing inside, and you see the type of doors and details I added. Now, neither of these have color. They would look great with color, and the more detail, the better, okay? So add detail to the inside of your studio, maybe through the window or through other hints. Maybe there's an area outside where you can work on stuff. This studio is mainly for drawing, so I have different drawing supplies in there, pencils and paints and stuff like that. You're going to do 2 different studios and the surroundings. I'm really excited to see what you come up with because this will connect to our next project. Please keep track of my dice and have fun. Good luck.